we get to the government, of course, you can get health care through private plans. But then and private plans are like Blue Cross Blue Shield, those are big ones, but you can get United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana. These are all things that you could go research. They're all different, just like car insurance. But if you don't have insurance, this can really wipe you out. And again, I apologize, I'm going to just break my train of thought. I'm going to start bringing a bunch of magazines there, Fortune magazine, Money magazine. Anytime you feel like it, if you want to pick one up and take it home and look at it, and even if you wind up throwing it away, I don't care. But once I've looked at them, I'll bring them in for anybody who wants them. An HMO is a health maintenance organization. A PPO is a preferred provider organization. And a POS is a point of service. And while I'm going to give you some basic things for all of these, that's all it is. You need to really check these out, but I want you to have some basic knowledge of everything, like the car insurance, home insurance. So, if you have an HMO, it is the least expensive of any of these. It means you have a primary care physician, and if you would, I don't want that on there. I don't want that on there. Okay? No, I lost my train of thought. It's you need a primary care, which means if you need to have a cardiologist look at you, you can't go there until your primary care physician says it's okay. So you have to go to that person if you have an HMO. A PPO, you could do that. A preferred provider, you could go to a cardiologist if they're listed in as one of the doctors for the company that you're with. A point of service is really a combination of both, but still you can pretty much go to any doctor you want as long as they are listed in a list of things, and it's called being in the network. When you don't do that, you pay on your own. So these are the two types in general. It is a mess now because Obamacare, they're going to change it quite a bit. There are all kinds of issues with health care. The cost of health care is through the roof. And yes, it's worth living. But the cost of developing medicines, the cost of a hospital, the cost of the insurance, the doctors, the machines to do the imaging, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars. And so that's why the cost of health care is expensive. And that's why you all have to be a nutcase and not want to learn how to invest, make money, budget properly, and do all these things so you don't have an issue. There are government plans called Medicare, but Medicare you don't get until you are retired. 65 is the retirement age at the moment. For you, it'll probably go up to around 70, 71, 72. There are all different parts for Medicare: hospital, physician, drug costs. All of it means you still have to be taking notes on all this? Yeah. Okay. And again, if you need to ask something, please do. Physician costs. Medicare will not pay for everything. And that's why you still have to have some insurance, or you should if you can afford it. It's called gap insurance. Medigap is from a private insurance, and it will pay extra amount that the government doesn't pay. So that's the kind of insurance to have. I could get Medicare right now. I will not. It's nowhere near as good as my insurances that I have personally. And so my life, the same thing. As long as I can afford it, I'm paying for it. I don't need Medicare to tell me what they're going to pay for and what they won't, because sometimes the doctor will say, this is what you need, but then Medicare won't pay for that, which means you cannot get the thing that you need. And so those who have money, don't do this. Those that have no choice, do it. Yeah.
That's after 6 years when you say 6, right?
That's correct. At the moment, you're gonna raise that. Technically, Medicare is broke. So is Social Security. That's why I know your taxes are going to go up when you pay higher taxes in the future. Medicaid is for somebody who's indigent. Indigent means no money. And that doesn't mean just you're 66. That means if you're 25 years old, you're homeless, there's no money, there's no income, the government will do the things to help you, but you won't be in the best hospitals. You're going to be in a hospital where you see a doctor every third year when it's a leap year after the 5th time that the leprechaun was seen dancing down the street. But other than that, Medicaid at least is something. And again, this too is broke because there's no money. So that's what Medicaid is. Disability insurance is an insurance that again, most people cannot afford. A disability is insurance to have. Should something happen to you and you can't work anymore, it will pay you a salary. This doesn't pay for medical expenses. It actually is paying you a salary if you work. And what I did, and this is peace of mind, most people can't afford it. But I wanted to know, especially with the history of disease in my family, that if I didn't make it to an age, I'm actually the oldest living Wexler that we've had probably in 200 or 300 years, because everybody died of heart attacks when they were 50 or younger. My dad survived his, but was very ill the rest of his life. And it's one of the reasons I did what I did for a career based on that. I wanted to make tons of money, so while he was alive, that he could travel around the world with my mom and do all the things he'd like to do. And sometimes he'd be at a place in the world and they'd have to cancel the rest of the trip until he felt better, where he could continue on. So that's one of the reasons I did some of the things I did in my career. I always had disability insurance. So if something happened to me, I'll have plenty of money coming in. All the things I decided to do budget-wise, I could still do it. So that's why I want to talk to you a little bit about disability insurance. There are different types of disability insurance. One is from the government, yes.
So what's the difference between that? I mean, is it an indemnity or?
In a way, it is an indemnity. It pays you when you are disabled. So it is a type of indemnity. But now we're going to call it disability because that's the way you buy it.
Okay.
But in essence, you're correct. It's an indemnity. It's going to pay you. I have never collected a nickel on this. I've had disability insurance since I was 22 years old, so I've had it for 46 years now. Never got any money, nor will I ever get any money, because once you're 65, it stops, because it knows you're going to get sick. It's just to protect you in the period when maybe you won't be sick. So this stops at 65 generally, and the other sources that an employer has to pay for, this is one of the reasons why 4 out of 5 businesses fail. They don't realize that when you have people working for you, you have to pay workers' compensation. That is a government plan for somebody who gets hurt while they're working for you. So workers' compensation, so I had to pay that, it's paid by the employer. Social Security, which normally you only get when you're able to at 65. If you actually, when we do Social Security formally, you can actually start collecting at 62, but you get a reduced benefit, and I'll show you why you shouldn't do that. But if you are hurt and can no longer work, you can get your Social Security benefits, whether it's at 28 years old or 32. Any private policy you have, like I had, will only pay you up to 70% of your income. Which means if you made $100,000 a year and wanted to take and could afford full disability payments for insurance, most of you won't be able to afford that fully, but if you could, the most you'd be could insure yourself to is $70,000 per year. It won't go to the 100%. What I did was, when I started my businesses, I made this, and then I made that, and then I made that, and then I made that, and then I made that. So as I was making more and more money, I kept raising my disability. And that stays with you. So when I retired and then decided to take this, to try this and try to help you kids, if I got hurt here at school, I could make a lot more money by getting hurt because I would still get that amount of money. It doesn't care that I'm a teacher now. All it cares is I paid money up to here. The problem with this is now it won't happen anymore because I'm too old. Okay? So there are advantages. There's another thing about disability insurance. Most of you, most people, hey, I'm 28, nothing's going to happen to me. And I'll worry about it when I'm 45, 50. The minute something happens to you, you cannot get any more disability insurance. You can't get any more life insurance. I'm about to do that with you. So I would love to have a lot more life insurance than I currently carry. Okay? Would have liked to have more disability, although it was substantial based on the amount of money I had. But I couldn't. So once I had a heart attack in 1993, there is no more insurance. It's over. It's over. No more.
You don't have life insurance or?
No, meaning you can't add to it, you can't buy more. okay?
So do you still carry the insurance?
No, because I'm too old for it. It's expired. But it did what I wanted to do. All insurance is meant if something bad happens to you. So that's why you don't want to ever collect on insurance, ever. Because it means something bad had to happen to you. All it should be is peace of mind. But that won't quite be true when I get to life insurance. If you do that right, it's another way to become a millionaire. So far we have stocks, we have your house if you do it right, and I'm about to show you what to do with insurance. So money should never be an object. Did you have a question?
Yeah, could you buy a private policy that's inflation rate adjusted?
Yes, and thank you for that, because I meant to talk to you about that. Well, there are two things I want to talk about. Number one is, I always bought policies that were inflation adjusted. Cost more, but if inflation goes up, then whatever you're getting, maybe last year it said you'd get $7,000 a year for disability, but we've had inflation now of 10%, that $7,000 automatically would go to $7,700. And that costs more money. The same thing's going to be true of long-term care insurance, but I discussed that with you already,
Yeah,
right?
I think you asked us to
I
ask
did.
our
So
parents.
did anybody ask their parents or guardians if
Yeah.
they had long-term?
Mine didn't
health
have.
insurance? Did not have.
No.
And I told you at least half of them didn't have it, and it's one of the most important insurances you can buy today. And in the other class, 3 kids asked their parents and guardians, and all 3 said no, they did not have it. One didn't even know about it. And so, you don't, well, these are things that now you have a chance, you want to do something about it, do it. Because at your age, if you got good jobs and knew how to budget by the time we're finished here, if you wanted a disability or policy, if you wanted long-term care insurance that you all should have individually, it would cost you nothing. Probably $15, $18 a month if you were 22, 23 years old and wanted it. Okay? And that would be for a good policy because we can get all different things. Any questions on this? Okay. Oh, one other thing since it just occurred to me, but I didn't mention in the other class. Whatever policy you buy, this is not like going out and buying a car and negotiating it down and making sure you're paying the right price. This is about going to the right companies. Because if you take insurance with a company and they're out of business in 30 years, whatever you paid in there is gone. It's gone.
There's no regulations or anything like.
There are regulations.
Insurance on that?
The insurance, well, let's make sure we understand this. There are regulations from the government, but that doesn't mean that keeps the company solvent.
But let's say you've been a customer there for,
You could be-
there for like 40 years.
Yep.
And you've been paying everything on
Good.
time.
Company goes out of
Goes out of
business,
business, and then what happens to the money? Like what happens?
it's gone, you're gone.
It's just gone.
It's gone.
Like they don't give you anything
No.
like.
Company's gone.
But
Same thing with your home insurance, same thing with all of this, the company's gone.
How do
Your
you-
job is to learn what we do in finance. You can go online and look at United Healthcare, see what they're worth, is it good buy, is the company good? Yes, you wanna find companies
So
that
based
are
on like
good.
fundamentals.
Yeah, it's fundamental, that's all fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
That's all fundamentals.
Does that have to do with like the AAA rating or
Yes,
like the ratings
all
on
these companies are also rated like bonds, but they're not AAA in that. They're just A-rated companies or B-rated companies.
Okay.
Yep,
They usually insurance companies usually don't go out of business because.
they usually don't. But what was the cause though?
Because they usually have to charge higher rates if anything bad happens or they lose money.
Those for homeowners insurance and things like that, that would actually even be true for this. When 9/11 happened, you had almost 3,000 people die that day, and those people were executives and big things. They had all major life insurance policies. That is extremely rare. But they all paid off because the government guaranteed those payments. If not, some of those companies might have gone out of business and not been able to pay it off. So it's incumbent upon you to do the right things. My fondest hope for all of you is that you all do the right things in your investing and buying houses, that this becomes a plus, meaning you don't need this money. Okay, you don't need the disability money really. You have enough money to take care of yourself. That would be what I hope. Of course, that won't happen when you're working for 2 or 3 years. This would be toward the end of your working careers, where you should have enough money that you don't need it.
How much is enough money, like 100 million?
Enough money is a relative term. It depends on your lifestyle. So if your lifestyle were in the top